biggest challenges is that the way I see it is that building a relationship with AI is is something that people have to stretch their brains into, Matt. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. And then having understandable vocabulary, the gap between that. So when you say AI, people are starting to not fully know what that means. And then you do large language model and then small language model and then vertical things and then niche this and then there's even I've even used a platform right now where I have six different AIs working at the same time and then ask the bigger thing to integrate all of those six points of view. So I got Grok going, Chat GPT going, I've got this one going and this one going, and then I've got them all like all thinking about the same thing, and then I say, okay, well, let's summarize that, into 600 words, and then
Yeah.
whoop, and then I watch how either empty it is or it has some factual not anomalies in it that I need to then question it about. And but a lot of people don't know that you've got to have a dance with the thing. So, Matt, a big challenge that you're going to face is how do you get people to know the things that you know and then do that pesky word called trust, that it's really going to save them time. You could say it's going to save time, but people just don't believe that because everybody thinks they're the best thinkers ever and they're the best spenders of time ever.
Focus is showing up as an investor for the last 30 plus years, still investing, consulting for as many years, coaching businesses for the last 15 plus years. And I started this space that we call peers on demand as a way to be able to connect with each other and actually do business or refer business or even collaborate or co-venture together. And my big idea recently, and I say in the last 5, 6 months, is to be able to work with companies that are in transition and to be able to invite them to showcase or share their business or sell their business to us. And the opportunity is that we can work with them and be able to help them in their transition and get them to where they want to go in terms of money, either generating money internally or being able to do that externally with private equity investments or even exiting their business or selling their business. And the key here is that we're looking to work with companies that are in transition to reassess where they're at, remediate what needs to be remediated, and be able to get them ready for the finance or the money portion. And of course, money can be generated in multiple areas, but we want to reassess where they're at from multiple areas. The majority is a team and human assessment, business assessment, marketing assessment. All of those come into play to be able to help them at least uncover where the gaps are, what needs to be focused on. And the remediation portion is to be able to look at whether the needs to be improved from an operational standpoint, process standpoint, organizational, or even help it with the coaching or consulting and training, as Bob mentioned earlier, to be able to get them ready for showcasing their business to somebody that's ready, willing, and able to expend, invest money in their business through private equity or investments, or being able to help them in the transition space. And we do that on a weekly basis. On Fridays, we invite people that are looking for funding. This week, this Friday, we have somebody looking for 30 million in funding, and we have a team that we can bring together and have an audience for them to be able to share their pitch deck with us. Next week, we have another one. So the key here is we want to look and work with peers that perhaps know of companies in transition, and all companies are in transition, but the ones that want to work with us to be able to help them through reassess remediation readiness and invite you to also be part of this in whatever stage might fit for you. So that's my invitation, is that you might consider joining our business longevity team and participate with us. So Matt's involved in something that's topical, is AI. in so many different areas. Recently, he's come out with an application as well. Maybe, Matt, you could say it better than I can about who you are and what you do, but more importantly, the value, the big ideas in your business, big ideas in your industry that we should be aware of. Matt Folk.
Yes. Thanks for having me here. Well, right there, the banners there. The big idea is it's helping companies to close out all the silos. You got silos of organizations, you have silos of departments, you have silos of applications. Well, that basically gonna have put a lot of leaks for lead generations. So we imagine tomorrow that you have a system that connect all the dots. No more silos. You got instant referrals, instant leads, instant traffic. That's the big idea. In fact, if you look at the banners right there, 75% of B2B leaders are betting on ecosystem. Well, that's the future. There's no more just another AI or no more just another SaaS application. It's about ecosystem, whether you're in the healthcare, you're in B2B manufacturing, doesn't matter. It's all about ecosystem for your niche. And that's really what we focus on. With that, we'd be able to connect all the dots and give away AI applications that can help save over 80% on digital marketing costs and also save you time in terms of syncing up all the apps. And that's really this is the more than big idea. This is a huge idea. We're talking about $1 trillion market potential, total untapped. And one thing it was kind of interesting. Last week, I actually watched the HubSpot's conference. One of the things that they are starting promoting it. Guess what? They call Loop, Loop. Well, guess in other words, it's sort of like ecosystem. And the loop is about uh, closing all the gaps, but they didn't really go into the ecosystem in terms of promoting your customer partners and community. I like those three circles that you got there, right? We got three circles as well. One is for business partners, the other one is community, and the third one is for nonprofits. Well, we have the system that closing all the loops. We have AI crowdfunding that can supercharge fundraising. So we just launched Genius Wonder, and that is totally dedicated for AI education to support the big initiative from the White House. And so there's a lot more to it. We have AI entrepreneurship program supporting nonprofits for anyone who wants to get into new AI digital agency. This is really an untapped market potential. So anyway, that's what we do. Thank you.
Well, AI is topical, artificial intelligence. Before artificial intelligence, there's all kinds of other intelligence, but now it's top of mind because it's such a big marketplace and also how to show up at every
And
business.
I
Every
want to just
business is going to
add,
use. Go ahead.
it's kind of interesting that NVIDIA just came out with a report last week, basically saying that, well, small language model is more effective with AI agent. Wow,
100%.
that's a big news.
100%.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. In fact, AI X network, that X stands for smart language model for every vertical niche. The big challenge is how do you bring everyone together to capture the content?
Oof.
So that is the huge big idea. So imagine you got your partners, you got customers, you got whatever community you're part of, and give everyone AI agent to build out this whole ecosystem.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Doing it is going to be quite interesting.
Gosh, there's a lot of stuff moving in this space. And Yeah, I was just on I'm speaking at a tech conference in May on emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence and the interface of that down in San Diego, and then again in the fall in Austin. The one of the biggest challenges is that the way I see it is that building a relationship with AI is something that people have to stretch their brains into, Matt. I mean, that's the thing, that's the thing. And then having understandable vocabulary, the gap between that. So when you say AI, people are starting to not fully know what that means. And then you do large language model and then small language model and then vertical things and then niche this and then there's even I've even used a platform right now where I have six different AIs working at the same time and then ask the bigger thing to integrate all of those six points of view. So I got Grok going, I Chat GPT going, I've got this one going and this one going, and then I've got them all like all thinking about the same thing, and then I say, okay, well, let's summarize that, into 600 words, and then
Yeah.
whoop, and then I watch how either empty it is or it has some factual not anomalies in it that I need to then question it about, um, and but a lot of people don't know that you've got to have a dance with the thing. So, Matt, a big challenge that you're going to face is how do you get people to know the things that you know and then do that pesky word called trust, that it's really going to save them time. You could say it's going to save time, but people just don't believe that because everybody thinks they're the best thinkers ever and they're the best spenders of time ever. They're smart enough, aren't they? But no, it's not really true because we have thoughts that spend our time for us. Sorry, that's the way it kind of works. Chat, 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 and I
Yeah.
just spent a half an hour on nothing. So that we've got that going.
Well, okay, but it's interesting because Bill, you focus so much on emotional intelligence, right? We dabble in it. You do a lot in that area. I mean, there's quite the conflict, don't you think there though? Because there isn't really the emotional soul aspect of AI. I mean, do you mind me
That's
asking?
right.
Can I ask Bill that? I know we're asking
Yeah,
the same
no, I mean
question, but
that's
I
the
can
that
ask Bill that.
I mean
What are
that's the
you seeing with that? Such a disconnect, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, there's seven languages, and underneath that, emotional intelligence is sitting under all seven of those languages.
Right,
Problem solving,
right.
explanation, rewards, deals, and punishments, blame, shame. All that shit is up here. Sorry, excuse me. I got my profanity thing going today. But it's how do you authentically connect with a person and build the quality of trust that you need and integrity that you need. And
Right,
regrettably, it's not kind of there yet. I
right.
mean, we're not in a really strong
Mm.
integrity spot right now, regrettably.
But I would say that you can bring in the style, the characters or whatever that you want to train the AI models for different
Yeah,
uh, use cases, and that can be done quite easily. That would take time. The fact of the matter is, Bill mentioned it. I think that's also an opportunity. Well, let's put it this way: every challenge is an opportunity. The fact of the
right,
matter is that AI agents, it can be your assistant, right? That's like a pseudo assistant, so sort
Mhm.
of. And
So
you can have,
Matt, here's the challenge I'd like to throw in front of you. I think this is where a lot of people are going to connect with you on is that when I go out to AI, I'll ask it two questions. Like I'll take a word and I'll ask it two questions. I'll ask it, what is the conventional definition of empathy? And then I'll ask it, what does Bill Sturley have to say about empathy and compare how that's different?
yeah,
Oh my gosh. AI says, "Oh, I can do that. I'll just go get all Bill Sturley stuff out here and I'll
mm,
take the stuff that psychotherapy says." Bill Sterling's advantages and da, 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 and it actually sets it up and go like, I can use this as marketing material, because it literally differentiates me and says, this is why this is better.
Wow.
Melissa, you got something
No,
like
I'm
that?
just like laughing. Not exactly the same, but I went on just recently on just the ChatGPT side, which is only one facet of it. But like you said, for marketing purposes, I just asked it questions. I went on to ask questions about like my perspective of what would I say if I
Right.
was Melissa Whitaker, what would I say are the 5 compelling reasons companies might invest in sales leadership culture and wellness training? Like my perspective, hopefully with some emotional compassion. But I will tell you, wow, wow, what it
Yes.
came up with, holy dynamics is all I can say. I mean, it was like,
Good.
it gave me
Yeah.
5 points of 5 specific compelling reasons, and then it said why it matters. And I was like, whoa. I was impressed. But I will say this, Bill and Matt, for both of you, what concerns me is I'm in a lot of circles of entrepreneurs who are being taught. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm not sure. I'll be honest. I'm going to be totally honest. To train these AI perspectives and assistants and like basically a video version of them, right? To make videos and to like do coaching because I'm in the training coaching space and to like learn all my behaviors somehow. I have not gone there because I'm a little bit nervous about that, but it's like learn all that stuff and then try to utilize that. I guess my concern is I don't know if I would want AI to just represent me. And in some cases, are people, I guess I feel like some people are being told, hey, just train this AI and this AI can do this. And now the video is so good that people think they're really talking to you. And I'm like, do I want that? Because what if the answer is really not what I would say from an emotional standpoint? Because, in our training, coaching, and consulting, one of the ways that we're different is that we're very holistic. We really do take the entire circle of caring about individuals, caring about their family, caring about their companies they work for, who usually hire us, and really we have a lot of that effective communication and emotional side of the psychology of people, and really trying to meet them at this point of seeing people, hearing people, and seeking to understand people. So I guess I get a little concerned about that. It's like if that's one of our differentiators, do I risk training an AI to look and supposedly answer the way that I would? How do I know and trust that AI could do that effectively and not say something I'd be like, oh no, 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 I would not say that, nor would I advise, I guess that's my concern of that leap a lot of people are making. And I see it all over social media today. And I'm even looking saying, is that actually someone's video? Like they're talking about it. Like you won't even be able to tell the difference. I'm like, I think they're doing this intentionally. I think this is a video of the person. I'm like, I don't even think this is the person I know, and it's like people I physically know and it looks so real. But the fact that they're talking about it is like, I don't know if this is really them or if this is an AI trained video. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm stepping into that a
Yeah.
lot, quite a bit of that.
It kind of frightens me. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know.
Well,
So,
it
so
shows
the
up. We
funny
have no
part is that,
control.
yeah, we don't. And that's the hard part. I can go on the internet and ask about Melissa Whitaker stuff, and then it's like then I don't have to pay Melissa Whitaker. It's like
Right,
it's the tough
right.
stuff. I can go and I've thought about that for myself. It's like, well, people are going to because how do I stop the access to my book? Well, you kind of can't. So it's like everything is becoming exposed, so people can
Just
go
get it.
around the pay point of the
Right.
creator and the innovator.
Where's the value? Like,
Yeah.
we
If
do
I can,
we charge for our value, right? I mean,
Sure, that's right.
that's my concern. It's like, oh boy, what are we gonna do here?
let me interject one thing that I think will be a perspective that you guys will resonate with. No one will ever replicate Bill, ever, maybe 5 years, 10 years, I don't mean infinity, or Melissa, because AI still lacks context of neuroplasticity or wisdom.
Right.
Every single question someone asks me is context sensitive.
Yeah.
It depends on their stage of development. It depends on their industry. It depends on the team they have and the strengths. It depends on their business model.
Right.
AI will never, certainly now not get that. And even though
True.
ChatGPT moved from having 30 files as a baseline of context and can now have hundreds of files, it gets confused, and I've blown it up many times, overloading it with one single legal case that has 7 gigabytes of data. So it's impossible for AI today to replace us because we have 20, 30, 40 years of wisdom and context in our neural network. And AI is really great at gathering facts. I wrote a 20-page book this morning before this call on making the decision between joining a venture studio or going it alone. It's tremendous at adding to my productivity, but no way I could do that without my experience to ask the right questions to guide it and to validate the output.
I would add another perspective to it is that consider the AI agent is a way to capture more data for you so that give you feedback. I think that's another very valuable dimension that you cannot just do it 24 by 7 alone. So especially when you pull more data from different um, companies or different professionals, you got better insights on how you can make changes on your strategy.
Well,
Yeah.
before artificial intelligence, there was emotional intelligence. And Bill, you're very much an expert on that area. You've written a book, you're making presentations. You're obviously very conversant with many different AI. So I wonder if you could share big ideas or opportunities that you're entertaining in your business or in your industry, Bill Sterl.
Well, the opportunities opening up with AI to start speaking at these conferences. So I have two of them already lined up for next year. And the thing that I'm always focused on, and I put all my contact information in the chat, is how can I help to reduce organizational and individual thinking conflicts? Even speaking at a yoga retreat I did on Saturday. How do how do you like deal with your own internal chatter, which is a conflict? You're speaking with yourself. And then the next one is that realizing how much time it could save just by making sure the person knows what the word integrity means or what the word trust means or how honesty works. I mean, I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny because right now I'm in the middle of a mergers and acquisitions piece right now where one side had a whole bunch of stuff signed and the other side goes, well, I don't know. We might fire this guy. We might have this. Oh my God, they didn't sign it. It's like there was like they're making a mess at the middle of my merger, right? So I'm going like, okay, it's we've got to we've got to gently get people to hold the accountability piece and not, pay attorneys as much and hold accountability higher so that it goes better. So that's my big idea. And I have 4 bullet points: change push marketing and sales into pull language. What is the need of the buyer? That's what that means. And then just streamlining communication. Here's what an email really looks like. Here's what a really effective business email looks like, including emotional intelligence. Here's the empathy part. Here's the acknowledgement part. Here's the request that the person's making. And here's the opportunity for the person to say no at the end. Give choice in every email. Hey, if this email is not a fit for you, or it goes to somebody else, let me know right away.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. The person then doesn't sandbag it for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'll get to that email. No. I've already said if this email is not a fit for you, or if there's something in the way, something's too much on your plate, let me know now. Scary honesty. Gotta let me know. Because otherwise, I got people withdrawing and hesitancy for 1 week, 2 weeks on an email because they can't get off the dime because they're not sure how to answer it safely. And so that's the big idea. Answer and communicate things safely. It's very precarious. There's a lot more walking on eggshells than there needs to be, but still the current environment, both professionally and politically, is causing people to walk on eggshells. And we do not need walking on eggshells. We need honest feedback. That's
Yeah,
what we need.
that's
Anyway,
true.
that's my big idea.
Well, I divide the 4 points that you made into 2 areas, strategic and tactical. M&A is certainly strategic, or reducing organizational conflicts, very strategic. Using emotional intelligence, very strategic. The other ones, email, communicate, push marketing, that seems to be more tactical. So if we approach the strategic, I wonder if maybe the tactical gets taken care of, but it's got to have those considerations. You're dealing with humans that are very erratic. So I'm curious, are these topics that you're using for making a presentation or a specific usage case that you have with a client? Bill?
Both training, a build out on specific trainings in those things, as well as changing executive narratives to become more effective in it. So there's certain coaching packages that I design around these things, or training packages.
I'd love to hear your impression, Bill, of these online therapists that are kind of tangent to what you're doing and trying to deal with that human emotional, EQ side of things. Have you had any experience with them?
I have. Um, I even though I'm not a therapist and not a psychologist, I wind up training them in what I do. And the reason why is because they have a set of tools that are different. They lean way too much on labels and diagnoses, and they most certainly focus way too much on feelings. 125 years of psychotherapy, where has it gotten us? More labels and diagnoses to be funded for no good reason, because
Well, it's
they're not
billing
after.
code is the reason. That's the financial motivation.
There
That's
you
what
go. That's it, right.
DSM
You
was
get
created, right?
there's not there's a financial thing. There's not a mental health solution. There's a financial solution. No. Thank you very much for that. And so that what happens is that what I spend time doing with the online folks is watch how they're pushing the narrative of um, what I would call talking to the dashboard of the car where the oil light is. That's what a feeling is. A feeling is an indicator. So people are saying, change this indicator. But does talking to an oil light work? And the answer is no. That's called 8 years of bad therapy. I do not want to talk to a feeling. I want to get my ass. Oh gosh, see, I'm telling you, I got an edge this morning. Get my butt out of the chair and come in and open up the hood and put oil in the engine. So your need for respect is not met. What oil do you like? So your need for integrity is not met. What would that look like? What does fairness look like? Those are all oil words. Whereas aggravated, irritated, annoyed, those are all oil lights. They come and go. They change instantly. So in our little community here, we have 5 of us. We could say, God, I feel delighted. My need for learning is met. Or we could feel, gosh, I feel frustrated. I need more progress. Whatever the thing is that we're kind of struggling with, that's all happening inside our physiological engine, the 297 molecules of emotion that are slashing around. That's what they're doing. And see, I got Rocky smiling. So it's like they're all sloshing around, baby. You say a sentence and the person thinks either ice cream or dog crap. They could, you never know. So I hope that answered your question, point. But it's a tough wrestle, is what it is. It's tough.
Yeah, I might go farther and say that brutally honestly, the therapy industry is a scam. It has an 84% failure rate.
Yeah.
And no one would bring their car to a mechanic that had an 84% failure rate. And they have some basic tools. I'm not saying there's no value there. I'm saying they're in the business of getting people to addicted to talking. And the tool is what you said it is. It's talking to their feelings, which never end,
Right.
and never really solving the root cause.
Yeah. And I appreciate, and the word scam is interesting, but I would put the word unconscious in front of it. I think it's there's not a lot of people that are in the conscious promotion of how do I make more money at this, because they just don't know any better. And also, by the way, just to add a little, salt and pepper to what you just said, it's there's a standard of practice that they can't move out of, or they lose their license.
Yeah, and so modeling that in AI
Yeah.
is modeling a failed model.
Oh man. See,
Yeah.
there you go. Now we're all now you're cooking with the same meal I am. Yeah, that's right. It's really, really hard. This is very sad. It's very hard. It's a lot of suffering. Yeah. There.
But is AI actually trying to model a therapy model in some ways?
Well,
Well, I think
people go.
AI only works off the whole LLM technology, which has been the burst of hype and success in the last few years, is building from sentences other people have said. There is no intelligence in AI if you
Right.
define intelligence as
That's correct.
imagination, which is Einstein's definition, or as creativity, right? And knowing facts is not intelligence. Knowing facts is memory and facts, right?
Right.
I'm seeing all these IQ tests online that are advertising to me. Says, if you know 12 of these people or can answer 10 of these questions, 10 of these questions, you're a genius. Well, that's the opposite of the definition of IQ. IQ is not knowing facts. It's being able to solve problems with creativity. And
Yeah.
that's
That's
essentially what AI is. It's the hugest database in the world, the largest database in the world of facts, but it's essentially a dumb assistant that can run to the library for you instantly and bring back all the facts with no understanding of context of what those facts mean.
yeah. So Melissa, think about it this way too: is that you can go out to the internet and say, ask it the question, or AI, and ask it the question, what are the 10 best ways to deal with a narcissist? And it will go like you were like Bob was just saying, it'll go out there and it'll give you 10 things that is established with the psychological model. 7 of them will not work. 7 of the things that the recommendations won't work because they're not empathetic and they don't know how to talk to the root cause of narcissism. I know how to talk to narcissists and de-escalate them and get them to agree with me and support me, but people don't know how to do that. So
yeah, because it's coming up with the collective answer scraped from the internet of everyone, and 80% of people are incompetent at their jobs.
Yeah.
So lots of that information put out there is people's ideas that are wrong, and they get into the zeitgeist of the LLM.
Right. Yeah. And that's the challenge too. I did a whole piece on procrastination where I had to ask artificial intelligence 4 different prompt questions to finally get what the mystery of why people procrastinate, the 4 different types of procrastination styles, how those things. And then I asked what were the common fallacies with procrastination and what is the common beliefs. And then I ask, okay, let's not do the common beliefs this time. Let's say, what are the strong root cause of the problem? And there they were. Here's the, but I had to separate out what were the common beliefs. The person's lazy. They're indecisive. Those aren't true. Neither of those are really true. But when you ask AI, it says this is what it is.
Yeah.
But then you ask, okay, well, what is the cause of it? Oh, the person's emotionally scared to make a decision because,
Yes.
oh, well, darn it. Well, let's not make them scared so they don't procrastinate and spend my money. It's like, so we've really got to learn how to use this, as Bob said, the dumb librarian, right? The researcher that is just looking for for the info. It's got to be able to be applied.
Yeah, which you said earlier, and I'll enhance that or emphasize that. It's got to be an interactive process with
Right.
you providing the smart questions
Right.
and the wisdom and context to make the final output correct.
Right.
Yeah, modifying the questions along the way. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a great slide deck about that. That's fantastic. It's good fun. It's good
Yeah,
fun.
I put some data on the digital mental health. Actually, it was a lot of VC company been pouring it to it. It's about $2.7 billion
Jesus.
in 2024.
Man, give me a
So
slice of that pie.
Yeah.
Uh,
well, I actually have seen a couple of startups. You know,
all right, Matt, you figure out how to get me a slice of that pie and we'll split it right here on this agreement.
well,
And and
we'll
and
talk. We'll
and
That's just
talk.
and
the capital
Rocky,
investment,
Rocky,
Bill.
you get 20% right now, right off the top, baby, for putting us together.
All right, we'll
Well,
talk. In
well,
Bill,
fact,
that's just the capital investment. If you look at 184 deals, a VC won't invest in anything that doesn't have a total addressable market of $1 billion. So that's
Interesting.
actually saying collectively they believe the market's 184 billion.
Wow.
training education, training consulting and coaching is Melissa Whitaker. Melissa, big ideas or opportunities in your business or your industry. Wowas, Thrillist, tell us all about it, Melissa.
Well, I mean, one thing we're doing right now is, I think partially because there seems to be this disconnect between the AI side and that emotional perspective. Even though we're doing a lot of training for organizations, for sales teams, leadership team leaders that are sales leaders or leaders. However, we are seeing that there's a lot, of course, of still toxic behavior inside organizations, right? Lack of effective communication, lack of understanding of the psychology of people, understanding why people act the way they do, how they're wired, that whole 9 yards. So it's just interesting because this year we've had a huge intake, like uptick, I should say, of requests for workshops around having people being given personalized assessments and then doing a workshop around how to teach people how to understand how they're wired and effectively communicate, and then how to completely remove to toxic behavior inside the organizations. And it's interesting to me because I like I said, I've had my company for 15 and a half years. I'd say for the first 12 years of that 15 years, it was mainly sales and sales leadership. That's what people wanted, right? They weren't willing to pay for anything around culture. They weren't really willing to invest in their people around effective communication on the as much. You know what I mean? They were all about sales and sales leadership. That's what they wanted. Now we have a lot of people saying, yeah, we need people to be able to work together. They don't have to go home and have dinner together. They don't have to be best friends, but they need to be able to communicate. They need to be able to be respectful. They need to be able to be productive in the workplace. And then we have the whole dynamics of people working from home, working from people working in an office, hybrid models. And so it's just interesting to me that this year we've just seen this request be much larger than usual, which we'll welcome that. Sounds good to me. And because of that, we've taken it recently to the next stage or level as well. Because of this, like I said, disconnect perhaps with AI and the emotional connection piece. We recently just had launched our whole just retreats and workshop set, area. You know what I mean? So we're now offering workshops for whether they be off-site corporate workshops or leadership workshops. We also have them for women entrepreneurs and also for we have a faith. So I'm someone who has a strong faith in the Lord, and so I'm starting to offer more also faith-based offsite retreats. So we've kind of expanded into some of that. And I say the offsite retreats because I feel like people are craving stepping out from the workplace, reconnecting with others, communicating with others, refilling their tank so that then they can come back and be fully functional and fully productive and go after it. And so even though on the training side, Rocky, and for everyone, even though on the training side, yes, we incorporate AI. On sales training, we incorporate some key questions that we would recommend that sales professionals ask and build on top of each other to get, but like Matt said earlier, to get some perhaps facts, information, some kind of really nice articulation, but we always stress to the sales professionals and sales leaders, take what the answers are and then massage it according to your energy and your words. I think the challenge a lot of people are having today is that, of course, they're just putting the questions in and regurgitating exactly as it was represented. And I think that's the struggle people are having. It's like, well, no, you still need to make sure it sounds like you. It's how you would say it, but use that facts and the information as the fast way of automating things, using it as an assistant so you can be quicker with it, and also more compelling, And if some people say, hey, they're not great initially on the sales side with really fast, poignant, like really good articulation to put into emails or to put into have as a voicemail or a talk track, so to say, in addition to what they have, that can be very key for people. And the things that we do build on for people is questions about what are the biggest benefits of utilizing their organization? What are the biggest challenges that their ideal clients are experiencing? How do we build that on and then create a chart of saying, here's where our ideal clients are. Here's the biggest challenges they're experiencing. Here's the biggest benefits of utilizing us. And then having that be something that is so top of mind for not only sales professionals but sales leaders to have conversations around, and then to have strategic conversations about how to strategize, to represent it, to present it, to actually create that value at a higher level for closing business faster and more profitable.
Melissa, if I can annotate that, I would say the root cause is, and it's statistically proven, not my opinion. There's a great book on this called Generation Me, that we're having a social and emotional intelligence crisis.
I agree with that.
Children are literally being raised to be narcissists.
Yeah,
And
I agree
there's
with that.
there's three main reasons for that. It's looking at a 50-year longitudinal study of children entering college. It's been proven. That's why I say it's not my opinion.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a fact.
yeah.
The same survey was taken of college freshmen as they're entering for 50 years, and that's what shows this trend. And I would argue, this is opinion, that the three main causes of that are: one, a feminist and feminine model of education. They've extracted, they only nurture children, and they've overcorrected for self-esteem by telling
Sure.
everyone their crap doesn't stink
Right.
and you're
No
perfect the way
consequences.
you are, and
Yeah,
all of this kind of woke stuff.
yeah,
But it's bigger than that. The
yeah.
second cause is the divorce industry, which is financially incentivized to cause sole custody to mothers, which causes 14,600% more social pathologies in children than equal custody scenario. And the
Mm.
third one being social media. Kids are afraid to have a phone call. And these kids that grew up that way are now entering the workforce in huge numbers.
Right.
So I'm sure there's many, many other causes of that, but I
Sure.
think those are sort of the foundational things that corporations are going to have to deal with anyone under 30 now that grew
Mhm.
up, with an iPhone or an Android as their main interacting device with the human
Sure.
race.
Well, and it's interesting, Bob, that you mentioned that because, like, for instance, I have two daughters, right? They are teenagers, 15 years old and 17 years old. And I'm only bringing this up because we've recently had a lot of conversation around our daughters are frustrated with their friends and people at high school, the fact that they seem like no one knows how to communicate, right?
And
Because in
that's
our
gonna that's
household,
gonna help them massively in the
you're right,
workplace, right?
because
Because
but it's
them
one of the things,
noticing that means they
yeah.
know it's a problem, and
Yeah.
hopefully they can leverage that in their careers, right?
Well, and I just really encourage them to also love people enough to help them and teach them how to communicate. Does that make sense? Because I say that because, when it comes to the lack of effective communication between people in any kind of relationship, friends, teachers, classmates, obviously we all know it goes the same thing with colleagues, managers, leaders. I mean, there's a direct correlation with that. And so I just think it's interesting that our daughters are confused. They're actually like literally authentically confused on why when there's tension or there's a problem that arises that is uncomfortable between people, them and their friends, whatever, they will call right away and say, let's have coffee. And then they'll address the elephant in the middle of the room nicely and say, hey, is there something that happened I don't understand? Can we talk about it? No other kids that they're even friends with will do that. What do they
Yeah,
do?
that's because their definition of friends is smashing that little icon that says you're a friend. They
Right.
don't know a friend is someone who shows up on moving day. A
Right,
friend
right,
is
right. No,
someone who
that's
will
true.
listen
That's
to
true.
you vent.
But it's just fascinating to me that we're having. I'm glad we're having these conversations, and hopefully more of us are having these conversations with our children. Which that's what's missing, in my opinion, as one of the root causes is that adults, right, wrong, or indifferent, maybe they've had training or they haven't had training on how to effectively communicate. So a lot of them have not. So therefore, they do not teach that even their home, right? And so then they've got kids. Not only do we have the challenge with the digital side and the social media and everything, yes, that plays into it, but it also starts at the core root of the fact that they're not being taught how to effectively communicate from their parents,
Well,
period.
and that's
They're just
because
not.
we've got now dual income families, and the amount of parenting time kids get compared to the 50s and 60s and 70s has gone down enormously. And so we've depended on the K to 12 public education system to teach emotional skills and communications and other things, and they've
Yeah,
failed at that miserably. I'm
miserably.
actually wearing a shirt, Imagine Land, and that's one of my ventures that I've invested a seven-figure amount in. It's a facility, a Disney-like facility that does drop-off daycare 16 hours a day, 7 days a week without reservations. And every one of the activities is designed to enhance social and emotional intelligence.
Interesting. Good for
The
you.
challenge is that a empathetic response is necessary to diffuse the sentence.
Yeah.
You are a racist, you are a narcissist, you are an idiot, you did this with my friend. There is no emotional, and we can Bob, we had the ability in the 50s and the 60s to have time to work through conflicts because there wasn't as much running at us as much. So what I'd like to propose is that we really need to shift to a framework that's going to help us through this rather than thinking, yes, there were some better things that happened in the past, but I can also
Right.
think about some shitty things that happened in the past. In this moment, though, it's the empathetic response is what's needed. Sir, could you be feeling angry and you need mutual respect between the two of us? That's an empathetic response to you are a racist.
Mm.
See, the empathetic response is the person's upset,
Yeah.
angry,
Yeah.
and we don't know what the cause is. So we take our best guess. Is it
Right.
respect? The person's going to give us feedback.
Mm.
No, you weren't there when I needed you. Oh, so you're really angry about support. Yes. Now I know what kind of racist I am.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a one that doesn't support. No, my neighborhood got polluted with water in Flint, Michigan. True story. Oh, so this is about fairness. Yes. So now I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about what fairness looks like. None of these jerks are going to be held in court and no one's going to jail over making our community sick. Oh, so that's the need for justice. I'm guessing you might be feeling furious because your need for justice. This is what emotional resilience and proactive empathy looks like in real time.
Yeah.
There is nobody teaching, no, not nobody. There is like barely a scratch of what do you say when somebody says something crappy in your direction.
Yeah.
There's barely a scratch at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of my community throughout the world, because there's a whole community that is working on this thing. There's several people that train in this, but we feel like, oh my gosh, listen to the last crappy thing somebody said.
Yeah.
Instead of diffusing it, they're saying another crappy thing on top of the crappy thing, and it's escalating it, and it's
Well, yeah.
escalating and it's escalating.
And the reality is that's the human behavior, unfortunately, right now, where people just get defensive and defensive and defensive.
Yeah, just replace the
Mhm.
word behavior with the word language, and you got it. That's the human language that's in place right now.
Okay.
Because we're adding 500 new words every 6 months to English. Somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 a year of new words that nobody knows what they mean, and confusion is the feeling that comes next.
Mm,
So
that's
Matt could talk about the word AI, and he has no idea of what the listener is being emotionally affected when that comes out of his mouth. Is the person confused? Is the person overwhelmed? Is the person frustrated? Is the person optimistic? Is the person energized? He has no idea when he says idea how the person's taking it. Matt, you can see how funny this gets really quick. It's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to sell my thing? It's like it's really hard because you don't know how the person's going to take it. Is the person getting upset? Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they feeling irritated? Such a really important thing to get a hold of. Is your daughter, just like my sons do, they've got to poke a stick at, what do you mean by that? Let me
what do you mean by
repeat
that?
back what you've said. Let me
Yeah.
see what I can do with that.
Yeah.
So anyways, it could be a whole nother meeting and everything like that,
Yeah,
but
it's a
Agreed.
whole presentation on another book, Bill,
God dang
and
it,
you're going to
it
change
is.
the world.
We
But
need an
I also
AI
want to
GPU.
get this off. I want to thank you for joining us. We do this on a monthly basis to bring together CEOs,
Good stuff.
but you don't have to wait a month. You can certainly join our community and be able to participate in any other events. Also, consider being part of our business longevity team to be able to work with reassessing, remediating, and getting them ready for the money part.
Right.
With that, I also encourage you to join peersondemand.com and be able to participate there as well too, and make connections. Enter any of the events that we have, and certainly consider being part of our group.